What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Rust and Restoration Garage. Today we're going to be working on the Sonoma. I keep blowing the ECM fuse every time I start it now. Let it warm up a little bit and put a load on it and stuff. Keeps popping the fuse. So today we're going to undo the oil pressure sensor, and there's a couple bad wires on that, so I bought a pigtail for that to change it. And then probably in the next episode we'll be changing the fuel pump. But today we'll get the distributor off and then take the oil pressure sensor out, change the wires over and put a new one back in. But anyways, we'll get into it. Okay, so I'll start by getting the air cleaner off. Then we'll get all the plugs pulled and go from there. Okay, now that we got that off, I'm going to get the distributor cap off and then just draw some lines for when I go to pull it out so then I can line it back up again with where it is. Anyways, we'll get a screwdriver and get that off. Okay, so now that I got the cap off and everything, I'm just going to draw a line down through everything so when I pull it off, then I can put it back in the same spot. What I could do too is turn the motor over until it's top dead center, and this is pointing at the first cylinder and stuff, but this should work too, so we'll do that. Something kind of like that, just to get you back to where it needs to go. Anyways, I'll get a socket to put onto that and get the distributor out. Alright, so as you can see, when you lift it up, this will turn because of the gear down in the motor there. As it goes back in, it'll pop back to where you had the line. So just, that's why I marked the lines and stuff. But we'll get this out of here. And there we go. Now I'll see if I can get a wrench in here to get this off. Hopefully I'll have enough room around here with the distributor out. I won't have to take these fuel lines or anything out. But I will get this off, try that. Alright, so finally got that out. After we got the distributor out, there is a 14mm bolt back here that goes into the motor that holds these fuel lines. Then we got a 16 mil here for the fuel line, and then a 19 to hold that. I don't know if you can see it or not. To unthread the fuel lines, that gave me enough room to push this over and then thread it out of the motor. I'll show you over here. The oil pressure sensor is threaded into this, and I wasn't able to get a wrench on this and this at the same time to be able to get that to unthread, so I had to undo the fuel lines. But right now I'm going to take the oil pressure sensor off of this, and then put the new one on. And then, if you can see it on camera or not, where are they? Right here is the oil pressure sensor plug, and right here, you can get the light in a little better spot. Right here on the wires, you probably can't see it, but you can see some copper and some green showing through on there, so the wires are getting bad. So I'm gonna just make sure they're not bad down there where they come out of the main harness. Cut this off, splice a new plug in that I got here off of Rock Auto. Kind of sucks because they're all black, so I gotta just figure out what wire's what and then put them on. But I will get the new oil pressure sensor put onto this, and then I will start wiring the pigtail onto there and get this put back and get it all back together. Alright, so I got the wrong oil pressure sensor. As you can see, the thread's on the old one. Diameter of that's smaller than that one, so I must have ordered the wrong one. But anyways, I'm going to go to the parts store tomorrow and get a new oil pressure sensor, get that in the truck, get it all finished up, and then probably next weekend I gotta get the box off and do the fuel pump, but we'll see you back tomorrow. Welcome back, everybody. Of course, the parts store, as per usual, didn't have the parts I needed like they said they did, so the old oil pressure sensor is gonna have to go back in. Got that piece back on. And the plug for the oil pressure sensor, what I did was just tape up the ends. This orange wire had a couple little wires sticking out of it, so I just taped that up for now, and instead of putting the new pigtail on, because the rest of the wires down there, from what I can see, are still good. So I'm gonna get some wire loom on that, get the oil pressure sensor in, the distributor back in, fuel lines on, everything plugged back in. And before I did that, I went over to the fuel pump because I've been trying to figure out which one I need. But I unplugged it there, and then if you can see down in there is the ground wire. That was really rusty. So I went and ground all that down and cleaned it up, hoping that will fix my ECM fuse problem. If not, after I get all this together and I get it running and it pops the fuse again, I will be replacing the fuel pump. But I'll get the camera set up and we'll get everything put back together. Okay, so I got the oil pressure sensor, put a bit of Teflon tape on there so then it'll seal up a little better. Get this threaded in. If I can get in here. Okay, now that I got that on there, what I'm gonna do is wrap a bit of electrical tape around this so these wires aren't rubbing on here. I guess they're known for doing that, and these ones haven't rubbed through on that yet. So what I'm gonna do is just wrap a little electrical tape around there, get that loom onto these, get this pushed back onto there like that, get everything plugged back in, then we'll drop the distributor in. Okay, so I got the wire loom on there, fuel lines hooked up, got my knock sensor in the back there. I had to unplug to get the bolt out for the fuel lines, so that's plugged back in. Now we'll get ready to drop the distributor in. We'll get this camera set up and we'll drop it in. And now when I go to roll or drop this back in, the lines aren't lined up to the rotor button. So what I'm gonna do when it drops in, that gear should end up turning it as it drops in and line those lines up again. go. Dropped in pretty good. Oh, not quite all the way there. Yeah, so as you can see, one tooth off on that gear because it ended up turning back too far. So what I will do is pick it back up. Just turn that one more. And what I can do is turn this a little, just there. I think we're still too far. Get that just one tooth more. Okay, I think I was in the right spot. That one. Okay, yeah, seems to be in the right spot. If not, I'll know when I go to start it. But the best thing to do is get this all top dead center, and then you can line it up better. But I just wanted to do it the quick and wrong way. My 14mm socket on there to tighten this down, and then I have to clean the cap and just scuff that button a little bit just to clean it up for now. I do need a new one, but the fuel pump might be the first thing I need to do. Alright, now that I got that done, we'll get the oil pressure plugged back in and the distributor plugged in. Okay, we'll get the cap put on there, get the screws for that, tightens down. Alright, now we'll get the oil on. Alright, now that we got all that done, I'm going to put a fuse in it. I don't have the right size fuse, so I'll put a little smaller one in, let it run for a bit, see if it shuts off, and then we'll be back after that. Okay, so I just had the truck running for probably 10-15 minutes or so. What I keep doing is I got it up to temperature, hold my foot on the brake, put it in reverse, and then hit the gas, put a load on it more or less till it spins the tires. Kept doing that, and then I did it really hard in drive while I was outside until it started spinning the gravel, and then I just let right off the fuel and it popped the fuse. But I got a 10 amp fuse in it, and it's supposed to have a 15, so tomorrow I'm going to go get some 15 amp fuses, throw it in, take it for a drive around the block and stuff a few times, and then if it stays in there and works, then I won't have to do the fuel pump. If it doesn't work, then I'll be doing the fuel pump next. But we'll be back tomorrow, take it for a test drive, see if it shuts off and dies. Once I put another 10 amp in it again, it started up, and then I could put a load on it and stuff. It was just that I put it on really hard and then shut it right off, so that's what ended up, hopefully that's what ended up popping the fuse. But anyways, we'll see you back here tomorrow. Alright everybody, we're back, and I've had the truck running for about 15 minutes or so. Seems to keep running, the fuse hasn't gone in it yet. But anyways, I'm gonna run it up and down the road a few times and try it out, and I guess that'll test if I need a new fuel pump or not. Let's go test it out. Alright, so I got it back. Seemed to work pretty good going up and down the road. Need to drive it a little more. But for this video, that'll be it. Check the ground, I guess, is the best thing to do off to the start. Seemed to work for this so far. But anyways, if you like this, give it a like, subscribe, share it around, and we'll see you in the next one.